Alright, hey, what's up, guys? This is the first section, first lesson for our new section called Extending Two Dimensions to Three Dimensions. So we're going to start off talking about stuff in 2 dimensions, and then we'll move on to stuff in 3 dimensions. So our first lesson today is on areas of plane figures. So we have a bunch of different area formulas right here, and some perimeter formulas, and there's one circumference formula. This is what we're going to be using to solve our problems today. So we know for this first one is a triangle, of course. So, all right, triangle. And the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height, okay? So, pretty simple enough. Here's our base. It's the whole length of this bottom, and the height is that dotted line. All right, for the next one is a rectangle. So, we're given the formula for perimeter and the formula for area. The perimeter of a rectangle is just perimeter is just a sum of all sides of the figure. So in this case, we have 4 sides. 2 of the sides are the same, and the other 2 sides are the same. So that's why we have 2 times the length because you're adding the length twice, and 2 times the width because you're adding the width twice. All right, and then our area is just, of course, length times width. So for a square, very similar to a rectangle, we have all 4 sides being the same. So if we do square side times side, as we have here, that's just equal to side squared. And in the perimeter, you add the same side 4 times. So it's 4 times s. This is for a parallelogram next. Okay. How do we know it's a parallelogram? We know there's 2 pairs of parallel sides, and we're going to see that those 2 parallel sides are also congruent to each other. These 2 pairs are also congruent. So our area is just the base, and then for a base, we have a corresponding height to that. So we multiply the base times the height. And then for the next thing we have is a trapezoid. So for a trapezoid, we have 2 bases, and the way you figure out which ones are the bases in a trapezoid are they're the 2 sides that are parallel, because there's a trapezoid has 1 pair of parallel sides. So B1 and B2 will be those 2 bases. It does not matter which one is B1 and which one is B2. But our height will be that distance, that perpendicular distance from B1 to B2 right there. So that's why we have those right angles. And so our area gives us 1/2 times that height, then times the sum of B1 and B2, our 2 bases. And then we all know this area of a circle formula. And then the circumference of a circle as well. Okay, so we're going to work some problems now. Number 1 says find the area of each plane figure below. This is a square, obviously. So our side is 8.5 feet. So our area is equal to 8.5 squared. And that will give me, a second. That will give me, sorry, didn't have my calculator out in front of me. 8.5 squared is 72.25 square inches. Or feet squared, sorry. All right, that's number 1. Number 2, triangle, okay? Obviously, trying to find the area of this triangle. My base is just the 15 meters here, because it's the bottom base right here, and the height's the dotted line. So it's 21.3 meters. So our area of a triangle is just 1/2 times 15 times 21.3 gives me 159.75. And this is meters squared. So we keep all our units for area are something squared because that's how area works. You're multiplying 2 different units, like the meters times the meter is going to give me a meter squared in that case. That's why we have meter squared for all our units. Next, we got a parallelogram. So, to find the area of a parallelogram, we need a base, which is the 12.9 inches, and then our height, in this case, is the 7.1 inches. So, because we know the height is that dotted line between there, and the bases are actually two sides of the parallelogram. So our area is just base times height, which is 12.9 times 7.1. So area is 91.59 inches squared. Awesome, rock and rolling. All right, this is area of a circle. You know how to do this one, so I'm going to skip that one for the sake of time. If you need help with that, go back to my video on area of circle. All right, this one looks a little tricky, but what is it? So I notice here that I have, these are two right angles right here, right? That means these two are parallel. So this is a trapezoid. So we use the formula for area of a trapezoid. I need a B1, a B2, and I need a height. Because our area is 1/2 times height times B1 plus B2. So our B1 and B2 are just our two bases, which are the parallel sides in our trapezoid. So they can be either one, B1 or B2, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to say B1 is 19 centimeters, B2 is 27 centimeters. So our height is this dotted line in the middle, which is 16 centimeters. So put this all in our formula to get our answer. A is equal to 1/2 times 16 times 19 plus 27. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all that in my calculator just like that. And when I press enter, I get that the area is 368, and then this is centimeters squared. I guess the hardest part in some of these is recognizing what kind of shape it is. Very easy, rectangle. So our area is going to be the length times the width, which is the two sides. So it's 10.5 times 3.7. So that gives me 38.85 kilometers squared. Next, we got another triangle. Okay, I'm going to leave this one for you to do, but you're going to need to find the base, and you need to find the height. Because our formula for triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height. You got it? Trust you got it. All right, this one, what do we have here? What we have is two sides that are congruent. Okay, and we also have, they're also parallel. And these are also parallel. This is a parallelogram. So our formula for parallelogram is area equals base times height. My base is 11.8. And my height is always going to be perpendicular to my base. So since that's how I know that this 11.8 is going to be my base, because this dotted line right here is my height. And it is equal to 16.1. So my area will be 11.8 times 16.1. So area is equal to 189.98. And this is in meters squared. Now, this is a half a circle with radius equaling 17. So my formula, I'll give you the formula and I'll set it up and you can go ahead and find the answer. Area for half a circle is just the pi r squared, and then you're going to half that. So it's just that divided by 2. From there, we can plug in and find our area. All right, number 10. So let's think about what we got here. I've got a side that is perpendicular to 2 sides. What that tells me is that these 2 sides are parallel. That's one pair of parallel sides. So I know this is going to be a trapezoid. So I'll set you up with your helps you with your base and your bases and your height. So our height is always a line. The height is always going to be perpendicular to both of the bases. We've already got that right here. This side, which is 5 millimeters. So I know my height is 5 millimeters. My B1 and B2 are just the 2 parallel sides. So 7 millimeters and 13 millimeters. So with our trapezoid area formula, 1/2 height times B1 plus B2. We've worked one out like how to solve this already, so I'll leave that for you to plug in and solve. And that's that for number 10. On the back, on the next page, all right, we have a triangle. So I'm going to say my base is 7 feet. But I don't have a dotted line in here. But I know that this dotted line that I have in all my triangles, and I've seen in a bunch of them, those are always perpendicular to whatever the base is that we're dealing with. So that's the same case for triangles as well. But we have a right triangle, and this other leg is perpendicular to this leg that's 7 feet, which I call my base. So if I find this leg, it's going to be my height. So I can use Pythagorean theorem to find it. So I know that the height squared plus 7 squared is equal to 18.2 squared. So height squared is just equal to 282.24. Square root both sides to find the height. Square root of that answer, and we got that height is 16.8. And this is in feet. So now we can use our area formula, which is 1/2 base times height. So plug those 2 values in to find your area for that one. Okay. The main problem with this one was knowing that we had to use Pythagorean theorem and knowing that other leg was the height of the triangle. So when you see a right triangle, your base is going to be one of the legs, and your height will be the other leg. All right. So what do I have here? I have a trapezoid. These 2 are parallel. So, and these 2 are congruent. Look at that. So it's actually an isosceles trapezoid. My B1, I'm going to let be 19 centimeters. B2, I'm going to let be 7 centimeters. So we're trying to find our height, though. And we know that our height is perpendicular to both the bases. Wow, so when I do this, I get a rectangle. Okay? And since I know that these 2 are congruent, then I know that these two are now congruent. So we have congruent triangles. Okay, so what I want to do is somehow find this side. This side, I'm going to call it H because they're the same. But what I do know is I can use this side and this side to find H. Right? I can actually really only have to look at one of these triangles on the right. Now we use Pythagorean theorem to find H. So, but how do I find this little side that's congruent right here? So what I do know is that this portion right here of this 19 centimeter of B1 is 7 centimeters. So if I subtract 19 centimeters, just 19 minus 7, I get 12. So what that tells me is that this side right here, this one on the left plus the one on the right, they add up to be 12. But we also know that they're congruent. So to get their length, we take 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So that tells me that this is 6 centimeters and this is 6 centimeters. So now I know two sides of a right triangle. To find the hypotenuse, I just do or define this h, which is the height, I just do Pythagorean theorem. So h squared plus 6 squared is equal to 10 squared. So h squared equals 64. So h is just equal to 8. So my height is 8. Good. Now I have all I need for my trapezoid formula. There equals 1/2 h times b1 plus b2. And again, I'll leave that to you to plug those in. That was kind of a difficult one, guys. You know, you had to recognize that we can break it up like this, and we had to solve for that height somehow. That was difficult. I'll be honest with you. If you still have questions with this after this, email me and I'll try to go into more depth with it. All right. Okay, so now we're going to use the area formulas to find each measure with this everything in words now. So it says that a triangle has an area of 45.5 centimeters. It has a base that measures 14 centimeters. Find the height of the triangle. Now we're just kind of manipulating these formulas. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Plug in what I know. 45.5 is the area. And I know the base is 14, so 1/2 times 14. And then we don't know h, so we'll solve for h. So 45.5 is equal to 7h. And then h gives us 45.5 divided by 7, which is 6.5 centimeters. So all this is manipulating the stuff. So what I'm about to do, I'm going to just set these up unless it's a really hard one to solve. And then I'll solve it with you, okay? Number 14, a parallelogram with an area of 160.5 inches squared has a height that measures 7.5. Find the length of the base. So area of a parallelogram is base times height. So to set this up, I'll have 160.5, which is the area, equal to my height, which is 7.5, times my base, b. Solve for b, and you'll have your answer. I'll leave that one to you to solve. A trapezoid with base measures of 23 and 29 kilometers and an area of 390 kilometers. Find the height. So my area of a trapezoid again is 1/2 height times b1 plus b2. What I know from here is I know the area, I know base b1, and I know b2. So 390 is equal to 1/2 h times 23 plus 29. I believe you can solve this here. First step would be to add those two together first. And then you can solve from there. Oh, I'll just get 390 is equal to 1/2. So 23 plus 29 is 52. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply that by 1/2 to give me 26. So So 26h. Divide both sides by 26. So 390 divided by 26 is equal to 15. That's kilometers. These trapezoid ones are a little difficult, more difficult. So this one especially is worse. So find the length of the second base of a trapezoid with one base measuring 12 feet and height of 4 feet and the area. So again, set up my formula. So I know one base, I know the height, and I know the area. So 58 is my area. Is equal to 1/2 times the height, which is 4. And then that's times the, I just know one base, and I guess I'll call it B1. I'll leave B2 as it is. So what my first thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and say 58 is equal to 1/2 times 4, which is just 2. And like what I could do next is I could either distribute that 2 across, which is probably what most people do, or you could, honestly, you could divide both sides by 2 to get rid of it, right? And that'll give me, so let me do that. It's a little different way to solve it, but I like it. So 29 is equal to, if I divide the 2's, they just cancel out, and I'm left with 12 plus B2. I would have to divide the 2 eventually, so why not just do it now? So I don't have to distribute. So now I just subtract 12 from both sides, and so 29 minus 12 would give me 17. And that is our answer for B2. Okay, that's in feet, sorry. Anyway. Alright, find the diameter of a circle with an area of 380.13 meters squared. We've done those before. You can go ahead and handle that one. On the perimeter of a square with an area of 361 feet. So, perimeter of a square is 4 times s. Area of a square is s squared. We know the area, so plug that in. 361 is s squared. Take the square root of both sides. I get that s is equal to 19. Okay, now I plug this, whatever I get for s, in for s and p in the perimeter formula. So the perimeter is equal to 4 times 19, which is 76. And this is just feet, not square feet. Okay. All right. There's one more left to do. Okay. So, and this one, because Mr. Peyton, very close to my name, would like to paint his deck. The dimensions of the deck are shown. Come on. Are shown below. If one can, okay, if one can of paint covers 72 square feet, how many cans will he need to purchase for 2 coats of paint? Okay, so we have a trapezoid here. First thing we need to find is the area. Because I don't even know how many, to find out how many cans, I gotta know how big this deck is in the first place. It is a trapezoid. So I need a base 1, a base 2, and a height. My base 1 is the 14. It's the one that's intersecting the dotted line. And then the other base will be 24 feet. The height is just the 16.5 feet. So plugging that into my area formula, I get area is equal to 1/2 times 16.5 times 14 times, or plus 24. So 14 plus 24 is equal to 38 times 16.5 times 1/2, That is equal to 313.5. Okay? Square feet, so feet squared. So, since we need 2 coats of paint, meaning the total square footage I will paint is twice this 313.5 square feet, but twice. So 2 coats of paint. So our total square footage painted is equal to, so 2 times 313.5, that is equal to 627 square feet. All right, so I know that 1 can equals 72 feet squared. Okay, so what I can do is I can say 627 feet squared, and I'm going to say that I'm going to make some units cancel. I'll be like 1 can is 272 feet squared. So essentially what I'm going to do is take our total square footage, divide by 72 feet squared, and this will give me the amount of cans that I need. So this is just 627 divided by 72, which is 8.71 cans. But I can't buy 8.71 cans, I have to buy a whole number. If I buy 8 cans, that won't be enough. I'll still have 0.71. I'll still have a little bit left over that I haven't painted. So what I need to do is I need to get the next number up, which is 9 cans. So I'll have to have 9 cans total. That's your answer. That's it for the lesson today. I've left you homework or practice problems for you to do the next 2 pages. As always, if you have any questions, please email me at hunter.patton@cpsb.org, and I hope you have a great day.